Hello, everybody, and good afternoon from Event Driven Solutions. So I have been wanting to say hi to everybody on the feed and kind of give you guys a little bit of insight as to getting unstuck in marketing. So as everyone is probably well aware, our industry right now in live events has been hit pretty hard. And so yesterday, as of September 1st, marked a movement for the month of September, which is being hashtagged as Red Alert Restart. And so basically, organizations are coming together to talk about how we can go together live, how we can come together safely live. And I think a lot of people in our industry right now are basically feeling kind of stuck. And so several months back, I was talking to a friend of mine about trade shows and how basically every day I get a call, another show is canceled, and contracts were going through and getting canceled, and people were getting unemployed and losing their jobs, and everything sort of kept spiraling. And she said to me, Betsy, this is a dead end. And, I fought it, and I didn't want to accept that because nobody wants to accept that the world as they know it is changing dramatically. And so she was right. I was going down a dead end. And I think now that we are about 5 months, 6 months into this whole COVID-19 pandemic, we've got to accept that things are changing and we need to move forward. So during all of this, I took a psychology course at Yale online. And one of the things I learned was about mindset. And so I put together this series, but today I kind of want to just brief you guys and talk about mindset and how that impacts not only us, but our customers. Because if we get our head wrapped around how all of that kind of works, then it's going to help us to proceed and get unstuck, if that's actually a word. And so according to Carol Dweck, who is a psychiatrist, I'm actually just going to read this to you. In her book, The Mindset, The New Psychology of Success, a fixed mindset, and I'm reading here, assumes that our character, intelligence, and creative ability are static givens, which we can't change in any meaningful way, and success is the affirmation of that inherent intelligence, an assessment of how those givens measure up against an equally fixed standard, striving for success and avoiding failure at all costs. Meanwhile, the growth mindset, on the other hand, thrives on challenge and sees failure not as evidence of unintelligence, but as a heartening springboard for growth and for stretching our existing abilities. And again, these are the words of Carol Dweck. They're not mine. But it lends itself directly into the industry that we are all in, as marketers, as suppliers to the industry, that if our company is stuck and fighting for the fact that we need to go back to things how they were and we need to, remain stagnant, we're not going to get through this. And that applies not only for trade show industry suppliers and event industry suppliers, but that also pertains to marketers and salespeople within the companies who are trying to reach out to their customers and still remain relevant. Because ultimately, if your company mindset is stuck in that fixed mindset and it's not thinking about what is it that we're going to do next, then what do we have, right? We're in the same place that we were in before all this pandemic started. So the key here is that we need to think about intentional communication, and we need to focus on, okay, what is it that we want to sell to our customers, but what is it that our customer actually cares about right now? Because, at the end of the day, that's always been what it's about. If you think about when you're walking a trade show floor, people aren't going to stop by your booth if what you're offering is not relevant to them, right? And so the same applies to now. And I'm hearing a lot of speak in the industry, virtual events are not events, or virtual events are are not real events, and it's our reality. At the end of the day, we've got to look at this hybrid model and start thinking about how we can move forward. And so if you think back to about 15 years ago, I had a job 15 years ago where we worked with a distributor partner network. And this was a business-to-business scenario. And we had distributors that were calling, and I was in charge of the marketing and communications, and I would send out newsletters. Okay, so those newsletters were PDFs. Everyone now can open a PDF like it's nothing, right? We don't even think twice about opening a PDF. But at the time, I would have people calling me and saying, Betsy, I can't open this. I don't have the software. I don't have the, this won't open, and everyone was all up in arms because they were shifting their mindset from, we have gone from paper and pen to this thing that I have to open on my computer or my cell phone, or at the time, my BlackBerry. So if we think about this as this point that we're in now in parallel to how things were then, really it's the same, right? Because we're basically taking, okay, the face-to-face marketing, we can't proceed the way we did before, but we can think about how can we reintegrate ourselves and get in front of our customers' eyes and let them know, like, hey, we're still here and we still care about you, and we want to make sure that our product or service is relevant to you. So I made a couple other notes here, and I kind of just wanted this to be a 15-minute weekly conversation just to get everyone's minds thinking, with the idea that if anyone has questions after, you can feel free to write to me, or, of course, we love it if you follow us on Instagram and, come back for more information. But I've kind of decided that the new reality isn't a term that I'm going to use, because at the end of the day, every day is a new reality, and technology has been changing and evolving as we move forward, all the time. It's never been stagnant, and we've just been kind of caught up in this comfortable place where we haven't really had to think out of the box. And so, there's an awful lot of different virtual platforms that are out there right now, and there's all sorts of companies that are trying to sell this virtual platform. And that's actually going to be one of the topics that I go into, not next Wednesday afternoon, but the Wednesday after. So, stay tuned for that. But we also want to just remember that when we're coming up with our messaging and we're trying to reach out to this customer, be it in a face-to-face event or in a virtual environment, everyone is getting tons and tons of information thrown at them every day. And I don't know about you, but I look at my inbox and I've got invitations to webinars and Zoom calls and, Instagram lives. And thank you guys for choosing to spend your time with me this afternoon. But there's just constant information overload coming our way. And so the key and the trick has always been, this has never changed, to make sure that we're staying relevant to our customer and we're talking to our customer about what they care about, not necessarily what we want to tell them. And also, just in the general 2020 times, we just should kind of keep in mind that disagreement in work and in that work environment is necessary. And in order for us to move forward, we have to disagree. And the only time when disagreement is a problem is when it becomes disrespectful, right? Because we've got to be able to look forward and say to our team, hey guys, we don't have this trade show to go to in November, but we do have this online virtual platform that's an opportunity for us to utilize. So how can we, instead of saying, nah, this is dumb and this doesn't work, how can we think about keeping our information and our data relevant, and sending that information out to, adding content to that platform that's relevant to our customer? Because by fighting it and staying stuck and keeping that fixed mindset, that's not going to give us the opportunity to grow. So we definitely want to make sure that we're keeping a growth mindset and making sure that we are not only thinking about what's to come, but think about what's happening right now and try to keep ourselves moving forward from the past, because living in that past isn't going to help any of us be successful in our marketing. I also just wanted to mention to everyone today that there are 2 organizations, and I don't endorse or work for these people, but just that I've seen that are doing work to help get our face-to-face industry back together. One is Go Live Together, and this is an event industry advocacy program. And then there's also WeMakeEvents.org, and I mentioned them earlier in this conversation, that they are working on writing letters to the government to hopefully come up with ways that we can come together and move forward and not, be in this holding pattern that I think a lot of us feel like we're in. So if anyone has questions, please feel free to, hi guys, hi Sugar. I'm glad you're here. Hi, Jeff. Thank you guys all for being here. I just want to mention that next week we're going to talk about consistency in our messaging and what that means to the customer, and kind of working through that customer thought process to think about how we can apply that not only to the physical face-to-face event, but also to the virtual event. Because again, marketing is marketing. It's just a matter of disseminating information in a way that our customers want to hear it. And then the week after that, we're going to talk about virtual platforms and navigating those, and just thinking about how that content gets loaded and what kind of information we need to be gathering in order to put on a successful event. So I thank you all very much for coming out this afternoon, and I will hopefully have the opportunity to speak to you all again at the same time, same station next week. And if you have any questions in the meantime, I will try to address those on the next Go Live. So thank you all for coming, and have a lovely rest of your Wednesday. Bye, guys.